Hello, magical ones. This is Nicole Marie, your transformational catalyst and coach, here to guide you through this weekly moon cycle forecast for July 22nd to July 28th, 2019. Now, again, I always like to emphasize why we work with the power of the moon. The moon is the keeper, the gateway to our imaginational and creative mindset. And this is where we're able to access our archetypal power. So when I talk about the cycles of the moon and I talk about the archetypes, the zodiac cosmos that is embodying that moon, it gives us an awareness to see how it's going to empower us. So what archetype is going to be influencing us and how we can bring in those qualities into ourselves to create our highest, best potential of living. And to also have practice of self-acceptance and self-love, and knowing that when we're, for example, this past weekend is the Pisces moon. And this was really a time to go within, to kind of feel it, try to be at home, because there's a lot of being the victim. Pisces archetype really looks at and is motivated by subconscious patterns. So if we have a very traumatic childhood or past life thread moving through our karmic structure, we can fall into these patterns of victimhood. But because we're able to feel the victim, we're able to find the healing remedy. So the shadow side of Pisces is victim, but the light side is the healer. And so we have access to both of these archetypes in our life. And that's why, by understanding where the moon is on its cycle and also how it's activating your personal chart, gives you the empowerment of like, okay, I can fall into this victim, understand where the pain and the wound comes from in order to rise up into the healer. So it gives you permission to dive deep, to access the wound, and to understand how you can choose a different pathway, a new way of existing. So just again, to deepen this understanding of why we do this work. This is for empowered living. This is for knowing that we are not alone. The cosmos is working with us, through us, and for us, because we are their children, and they want us to succeed in this life and in our own evolutionary path. So this is why I really like to just start this series with understanding the moon is a really powerful influence on our life. And I know most women can feel the moon cycles more directly with their body because of their moon cycle. And for men, paying attention to the moon cycles really helps awaken those feminine aspects within yourself, which is opening up to your intuition, opening up towards your emotional feeling body that might have felt expressed. So a lot of men also go through their lunar cycle as well by having powerful emotions during the full moon, or really feeling a lot of ache in bodies and during the new moon. So really paying attention to your own cycle. So this week, I have to say, we're finally kind of we're still in this eclipse energy, and it has been radical, shape-shifting, life-changing, and it's slowly kind of fading into trying to balance out all of that radical energy. So this is a really powerful week before this next new cycle. Next week we'll have the new moon in Leo, and we kind of officially will be out of that eclipse season. But as you know, Mercury is in retrograde again, and we have a lot of retrograde planets. So Saturn particularly is the one that has had a huge impact since April 30th until September 12th. And this is when a lot of relationships and a lot of our power struggles and how we used to see the world, our dreams, our career, like just our foundation, it's kind of been ripped up. Has been looked at, okay, wow, there's a whole new structure in which I need to live my life right now. So there's an old aspect of your life that has fallen away. And so this is the time where we're kind of tuning into what is the new life that is being born. And so this is why I'm quite excited about this new cycle that we're going into this week. So we start Magic Monday with a Aries moon, and this magical Monday, the sun moves into Leo. So, as you know, we've been in this very deep Cancerian energy, and now, even though Mercury and Venus, the planet of communication and relationships, are still in the water sign of Cancer, at least we have now the sun sign, so our will. So the sun always really represents our true will, our solar plexus, is now in Leo. So it's going to give us this chance to be really more independent within our heart's desires. What is it that we really need to step into? Kind of like being grateful for all the things that we learned in relationship with ourselves, but then, okay, how do I then bring it back to the self? So then with the moon in Aries until Wednesday, this is just a lot of fire energy coming back to us. So you may experience anger, resentment, judgments of all the things that has gone on with you. There may still be a lot of pain around that, and that's okay, because what it's doing, it's just moving through you. And the best way to work with fire energy is to literally dance with fire. So instead of putting your anger or projecting this pain or this woundedness onto others because they caused it in some way, you really need to go in and look at, where is it that I attracted it? Do I have a family pattern? Do I have, am I addicted to this kind of relationship structure? You need to take self-responsibility for what has happened in your life. And I know it's a really hard thing to do, especially in terms of trauma and crisis, and that's why you have to be really gentle with yourself. And so when you are working with anger, I really invite you to work with the fire element. Create a bonfire, light your house with candles and sage and dance with the fire and scream and cry and do all those things, but towards the fire. You don't want to project that energy onto anyone, because then that comes back to you. So it's being really, really mindful of where you're putting your energy. If you really want love and support in your life, you need to give that to yourself, and you need to be able to wish that for others. And again, I know it can be a very challenging time sometimes when you feel the victim to a circumstance. But I'm reminding you that all of these lessons, all of this pain is a gift. And the more that we understand that it's a gift to our life, the more that we can find self-empowerment and move towards our truth. So this first part of the week is very fiery. And because the moon has moved into Aries, Chiron is in Aries, so it's again going to kind of waking up those old masculine energy of, I have to do this alone. I'm not good in relationships. All I know, I have disappointments in all the relationships that I have. So it can bring up that shadow side of where you're feeling overly sensitive and not feeling like a hero of your own life, or having to overcompensate and to be really brave and to show up and to just kind of take these really big leaps. But this may be a time to just take little baby steps towards your goals and ambitions, and specifically towards your self-love and acceptance. So the archetype of Aries is the hero. So the hero of your own story, hero, heroine. It's really just, you embodying your life as your own author. Now, the shadow side of a hero is that he's just all about the self and doesn't know how to bring this into the world as his gifts. And just, again, I want to move away from that we have to do it alone, that we're alone in all of this. That's the biggest illusion that this world could ever tell you, or what your intellect or what your addictions can tell you, is that you're alone and that you can't change. And this is not true. And why I want to repeat this is that this is what this hero energy is telling us. And I want to open it up to, we're moving into receptivity. We are moving into that the self is connected to the divine self, to the bigger self, and that together they will do it and to move forward in the journey, and that you have all your spirits, all your ancestors, all your guides with you on this journey. You are not alone. And so this is something to really remind yourself and to ask for help. It's really important. You have angels, you have all sorts of people around you that is more than willing to help you, but you have to ask for help. And this comes from a place knowing that I can't do this alone. I need the support of love. I need the support of others in my life. So then from Wednesday to Friday, we'll move into the Taurus moon. Now, this is an earth sign, and this really embodies the archetype of the Empress. And this also sometimes activates like the overindulgence, which can be seen as the Emperor, Empress, and the Emperor. It's like, are you doing this for your own self-will and self-indulgence and try to stubbornly control people? Or is it that you're open-hearted and you're listening to your own heart's desires and to the desires of others? And how can you collaborate and work with others? So it's like after you've had this fiery energy of like, okay, I need to ask for help. Now you will receive the help. And how is it that you can show up vulnerably? How can you share your heart's desires with others? On Wednesday, there'll be the waning half moon in Taurus. So Taurus moon. And this is a really powerful time to review what has happened this eclipse season. Like, what have I learned? What is it that I can do to move forward from here? How is it that I can open up to my true heart's desires in life? You know, what do I need to kind of let go of? What habit or belief? A lot of times we're really just addicted to certain habits or to certain ways of being in relationship that are revealing itself like, wow, that's actually not loving to be in a relationship like that. Or it's not loving that I'm telling myself that I'm not good enough or I'm alone. That's actually not something that I want. So can I change that belief in myself? And this is through action. Like, we can say all the things that we want. We can say all the affirmations and the words to help get us to a new vibrancy, but then the body, it's like it needs to prove itself. So if you're wanting to have a new relationship to your body, or you want to have a stronger sense of self, go out for a walk and go into nature if that's a habit or something that you'd like to embody. Now, over the weekend, we'll have a Gemini moon, and this is another time to look and explore. So Gemini is an air sign. We're going to get very into our intellect. This is a time to expand, to research, to explore meditation, transpersonal activations. This is really a great time. Maybe you want to learn a new skill. Maybe you want to have amazing conversations in your tribe. Again, these moons are activating a certain part of your chart. For example, a Gemini moon in the 6th house is you probably might want to work all week or weekend. You'll want to, write and communicate and to maybe change your daily schedule. Maybe there's a habit that you want to bring in, or you need a new sort of like time management. This is how, through understanding your natal chart and your transit chart, you'll be able to understand how these moons are truly impacting you. So we begin the week with a lot of fire. By the rest of the week, so the fire energy is you're very much in more of your spiritual body, your intuition, those qualities that are kind of feel like they're outside of you, but the spirit also dwells within. So you're going to have a lot of excitement and a lot of energy to do the things that you need to do. Taurus is wanting to be disciplined. It's being back in the body. So usually once we go to spirit, we go back to the physical. And then we'll go into the intellectual, which is about changing your perspective, changing your mind, seeing the other side. And that's what the beauty of Gemini is. It's duality. It's looking at two sides of a story, two sides of someone's personality, two sides, the shadow and the light that dwell within you. And this is just a really profound week to integrate a new you. So the goddess that will help guide us this week is a leap of faith. And she says, take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. As I said, the waning moon in Taurus is a beautiful time to go into review and to actually take action, take those steps this week. We just got done with that full moon, and naturally we're kind of going into this place of going internal again. And so it's a great time to do both, because the sun is in Leo. We're going to want to take action while also in this place of review. So the tarot cards for the week, the overall energy is 7 of Wands, and she was tilted to the left. So 7 of Wands is kind of like, which personality is going to be interacting with my personal life? Am I going to be the victim? Am I going to be the hero? Am I going to be the high priestess? Am I going to be the wounded masculine? Which part of my personality is going to come forth and to kind of take charge of my life? So we're kind of feeling very drawn to the many kind of archetypes that are dancing within us. And the one that really wants to come through this week is the heart, is the Empress, is that energy that, okay, I'm just going to live my heart's desires, show up vulnerably. How can I be present in what's alive within me right now, and how do I take action towards that? And, you know, she says leaping, and sometimes a leap can look like a very small step, which is all about maybe all you've ever really wanted is just to do a daily practice of taking 20-minute walk in the park. That's a huge transformation. If that's something that you truly want to have in your everyday life, do that, because that is a gift. And the more that you do things that you really, really love and that bring you nourishment, that's really all that you have to show up for. And so that 7 of Wands is just saying, yeah, there's a lot of different personalities that are wanting to be the leader this week, but which one is connected to your heart desire? And often that's that high priestess, that higher self energy that wants to intervene in the physical life. So the conflict is 2 of Swords. So it's, again, trying to balance your mind. Right now, there's a lot of, because Mercury's in retrograde, there's a lot of confusion in our minds. So it's like we can feel like what feels right, but the intellect is trying to rationalize pretty much our life. Like trying to rationalize our heart's desires, like, oh, I just want to write a poem today. For example, in the park, just want to sit by a tree and write a poem. But the rational mind's like, okay, but if you take that time away, how are you going to make money? Is this poem going to go into it's just trying to track the purpose of your heart's desire. And right now, it's not about doing that. It's just about doing the action, taking the steps. And by the end of the week, it'll be 10 of Swords. And again, it's appropriate that it's Swords energy because Swords represents the intellect, and because Gemini moon. So really, again, how do we just kind of let go of these thoughts and these addictive thinking habits back to air, back to spirit, back to wherever they came from? Because I want to remind you that the thoughts that we think are actually, they don't come from us, that they live on the 4th dimension. We are currently existing in the 3rd dimension. So based off of our energetic patterns, thoughts get attracted to us. So if we change that spiritual pattern in our body, then we're not going to be attracting thoughts of lack of worth and all these things. And the only reason that maybe you are is just because it's an old ancestral pattern in your DNA and it's stuck in your energy body. So this is a time to just be like, okay, well, what things aren't working? What thoughts don't feel good? Write a list, burn them, give them back to spirit, whisper them out loud, do a little ritual about kind of sacrificing, letting that go of the ego mind and all those things to a much higher divine mind. And the unicorn magic. So when I pull the unicorn, this is for everyday magic. How is it that you can tune into this theme every day to call in your magic, to call in healing, to call in empowerment? And this is the card of rebirth. And I feel so much of what we're going through. Reinvent yourself, give life to your dreams, create a new reality. This is definitely what we're preparing for that new moon in Leo next week. So start picking up the themes, start really trusting in life and in the opportunities that life wants to present to you. If you want more love, let out all the disappointment and the pain of love so you can be filled back up. If you're trying to hold on to old pain, you're just going to be sitting in all of that. How do you let that go? You wash it away with tears. You take baths. You talk to your soul and to your guides. Please release me of this pain. Sound frequency is one of my favorite ways of vibrating it out of my body. Go to gong baths, do a trauma releasing therapy. It's really important to release the things that are stuck that you no longer want. There's so many different ways of doing it. Again, I love doing it with all my tools of astrology, tarot, sound healing, and ritual. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in this week and for really embodying your magic by knowing how to use these tools of transformation. If you want to learn more about how this week will look for you, where the moons are impacting you, how can you use the cosmos to help towards your path of success and empowerment, you can contact me at hello@NicoleMarie.eu or check out my website, NicoleMarie.eu. Until then, blessed, blessed, blessed be.